Students of the game, study exactly what it takes. We out here flipping tapes, man, we out here making bank. Fully in this Coogee, summertime, let it bake. Man, we orchestrate the mental, we commanders of the state, Yo, it's your boy Anomaly the God. I haven't posted in a while. I would say I have not stopped moving since about May of this year. A lot of stuff accumulated in the spring of this year, and just kind of went into go mode, man. Been on the move since about May. Still getting settled in and everything. My family and I relocated, and we're still getting settled in and everything. Just been, grinding it out. In the midst of all of it, I was able to drop my sixth studio project, titled Hado number 90, the Black Box. It is lightly themed off of an aspect of the Japanese anime Bleach. To all my Bleach fans, are we excited or what that Bleach is back with the 1,000-year Blood War? That aired, I believe it was October 9th, and they worked out a deal with Hulu, so we are able to watch it here in the States, which is sometimes uncommon because, usually it airs in Japan before we get it. Oh man, the animation looks amazing. I can make a whole separate video about that alone. Excited for that. But Hado number 90, the Black Box, available on all major streaming platforms. If you have not yet, please go check it out. Any feedback is welcome. Let me know how you feel about it. It was a long time coming. It was one of those tapes that during the process of me working on it, other things dropped in my lap, and I ended up going a different direction to do a completely different tape. But Hado, the pieces and framework for Hado was still on the table once I finished the other project, so I picked it right back up, and I think that break from it was necessary because it ended up taking form in a different way that I didn't think it was. I thought, the Bleach theme, Hado number 90, which is an aspect of a power or ability in the anime that is invoked with words or spells. And that's a good segue into what I actually want to get into with this video. But Hado number 90 is essentially an incantation or spell that comes at the end of an incantation. An incantation is like a spell or a series of words to invoke power. And it ended up just having a deeper meaning than what I thought it would be. And the translation of Hado number 90, which in Japanese is called Kirohitsugi, and Kirohitsugi translates to the black coffin or the black box, and it just took a life of its own. So in a sense of how I kind of put it, Michael Jordan's black box was when he got out there on that court and he put all his power, energy, thoughts, words into being the greatest basketball player of all time. Michael Jackson's black box was his music and his performance. He put all his energy, thoughts, words, and power into being the greatest performer and musician to walk the planet, and vice versa. My black box is what I do with my music, and those who do know of other aspects of me, what I do when I'm inside of the ring, when I'm in wrestling form, those are my black boxes. So I guess the theme comes down to, what is your black box? You know what I mean? What is your power? What do you put all your energy and force into? And it bears fruit when you focus on it and put your attention into it. I didn't have that concept of it when I started the project, but like I said, it just bloomed, kind of like I said, maybe with taking the break from it and coming back to it and seeing like I had pieces of something, it was something building. And sometimes we have to examine things like that. Sometimes we have to take a step back and look at it and go, damn, okay, this is something a lot different than what I thought it was, or this takes a little more thought or focus into it to really bring it to life, so to speak. But yeah, I appreciate anybody who, like I said, follows me in my music or in wrestling or in metaphysics or whatever it is in spirituality. Whatever you mess with me on, I appreciate that, and I love all y'all and the support when I drop the tape. Like always, is just, you know, overwhelming. That morning after I dropped the tape, I dropped Hado on August 28th. And that morning when I woke up, shouts out to DJ Technique over in the UK. He was already up that morning spinning it, you know, spinning in London. So shouts out to DJ Technique. I appreciate that. Shouts out to DJ Scheme in Brussels, Belgium, who also, you know, uses songs from the tape on his radio platform. Shouts out DJ Jazzy What for also spinning some of the tracks from Hado number 90. Big shouts out to some of the producers on the tape. Beat Tenant from the Netherlands, that's my brother. We've been working together for about the past almost 2 years now. An amazing producer from the Netherlands. And it's rare. Sometimes it's really rare in an MC's career where you find that one producer that just complements your work and y'all work together, and it's magic. Beat Tenant is that for me. You will hear a Beat Tenant track on all my works going forward. We dropped a project last summer titled The Higher Board, which was exclusively produced by Beat Tenant. He produced every track on there. I turned around and in December of last year, I dropped a deluxe version of it with 4 more tracks. That was just fun, man. Every tape I strive to do better and get better than my last work. Of course, that I would hope is the goal of an MC in this music shit. But The Higher Board is personally one of my favorite works. And again, like I said, Hado number 90, of course, I stand behind it as my greatest work because it's my latest work and I'm always striving to be better. But The Higher Board will always have a close spot in my heart. If you have not heard The Higher Board, that is also available on all major streaming platforms, exclusively produced by Beat Tenant. And it's a fun ride, man. I had a lot of fun creating that in the midst of Hado number 90 kind of coming together, accumulating around. So shouts out to Beat Tenant. He produced 3 joints on Hado number 90. Shouts out to Prophany, another great producer from over the Eastern Seaboard. He produced 2 tracks on Hado number 90. Awesome producer. One of his productions is probably one of my favorite tracks I did on the tape. I released it as a single before I released the tape. That's Mirror Man. Stay tuned. It's a video coming for that. I know people been on my heels about videos, man. I'm sorry. I get lost in the art, and I forget that visuals play a role too sometimes. Not that I forget, but I'm always writing. I'm always making songs. I'm always reaching out to new artists. I'm always, I'm an A&R. I'm, executive producer. I'm working with different artists, so I get lost in that, and I forget that I have to show my face and get out there and bring my imagery to visual. And I'm going to be doing a lot more of that because this is something that I wanted to bring up about my music all the way from with Hado 90 being my 6th studio project. My first 2 were more like traditional mixtape style. My first 2 tapes were the Rap Report 1 and 2. Very traditional mixtape style. I'm just kind of spitting over any beats, customs, or industry. I'm just taking people's beats, going crazy. And it was therapeutic in a sense that I just needed to kind of get that out. Just needed to just spit and just get it out. And my later 4 projects are kind of cornerstones to a bigger picture. I'd be willing to go out on a limb and say, you put all my tapes together and you listen and you catch certain stuff. It's like you're watching Marvel movies. I'm building a story within my tapes. The 4 cornerstones after my first 2 mixtapes are Apocalypse, the abstract tape, which I dropped in December 2019. Slide Vecchio, which I dropped during the pandemic. That was September 2020. The Higher Board, which I dropped last summer, August 2021. And now Hado number 90, which I dropped this year, August 28th. And what I'm going to do with my visuals is I'm going to start to put together and link those stories. So when I start doing visuals, I'm going to do visuals from each tape randomly, kind of. So I might start with one from Hado number 90 and work my way backwards, and I'll use tracks that put the pieces together and build a story. And at the end of that process, I'll probably reveal the next tape. So I'm going to take the time, because I have dropped consistently since 2019 every year. I'm going to take the time to really build this kind of visual library. And it's going to be different stuff. It's going to be shorts. It's going to be music videos. I mean, the music is always going to be the underlining of it. But I guess maybe that's what has taken me so long to get deeper into the visuals. I released a visual for my lead track from Slide Vecchio during the pandemic called Shine Dark, featuring my boy Baby Graham. Shouts out to Halo. And we had a really good videographer to work with who helped bring the vision to life. Shouts out to Anonymous Films. My boy Spirit of Anonymous. Sorry, I'm fusing me and him like Voltron. Spirit of Anonymous. So that came to life, and that really served what I needed at the time. And I'm gonna get more into the visuals, like I said, and just build that visual library, kind of piecing together the vision and how I see it to lead to the next tape. So that'll be something I'm gonna spend time on. Not that I'm not gonna sit here and tell you I'm gonna take time away from writing songs or anything, because I'm always writing. I'm always inspired at random times. So, but by the time I finish all that, guaranteed I'll have a tape ready, a tape or 2, or maybe a series. But I do this music stuff for the love. It's directly connected to my heart. It's different genres of music out here. I respect everybody who do, what they love with their music and whatever genre. But for me personally, I couldn't just get out here and give you what I view is asinine or, just monotonous rap, rapping about the same stuff 90% of rappers are rapping about. My rhymes are connected to my dreams, my spirituality, what I've observed in the world around me, all in the form of metaphors, riddles, poetry. Like it's an accumulation of everything, and it's my outlet. And I couldn't sell myself to do anything less. Some people say that it's what stops MC or a rapper from going mainstream or whatever, and you know, I've come to terms with that. I've made my peace with it. If I'm not meant to be mainstream, I'm fine with it. I exist in the underground. I search for music in the underground. Underground music has been the majority of my life. Not saying I don't listen to any mainstream artists, but most artists that I listen to that are mainstream now, I found underground. I was huge on 50 during the mixtape era, and then he blew up. I still consider 50 one of the greatest. But you know, that just to make reference, you know, I found 50 in the mixtape era before he blew. You know, same thing with a lot of artists that I listen to, just like kind of digging through the crate, so to speak, to find a hot new artist. But yeah, that's my music updates, man. What's crazy is this video wasn't meant to go into a music area, but you know, music is a huge part of my life, so you know, I got to touch on that. So again, Hado number 90, out now, all major streaming platforms. Check it out. If you're on my IG, the link's in my bio. You can get to it through my YouTube. Shouts out to Pocket a Plug from France, who always puts the tape on his platform. He has a huge platform on YouTube for underground hip hop and just amazing hip hop from around the world. And he does have the tape rolling on his page as well. So yeah, so I guess I can call that an introduction. But the real purpose of this video, and I've been kind of wanting to get to this video for a while, and I'm just now finally getting a chance to make this video, but it's more based around, I guess, the current status, the current stasis of our reality right now. And like I told you before, on this page, on my page, on YouTube, IG, you're going to get a plethora of things, and one of them is most definitely, you know, spirituality or metaphysical talk that I do enjoy to dig into. And that's the true purpose of this video, is to dig a little bit more into that. So yeah, this is a video I've been wanting to get into for a while now, and like I said, it focuses more on the current reality, spirituality, metaphysics, and where we as a people need to be right now, or at least need to understand. Like, so some of the stuff I'm gonna get into is not to change anybody's spiritual beliefs. It's not to change anybody's belief system. It's not to do anything of that nature. It's simply to recognize how over periods of time, different centuries and stuff like that, there were certain frames of thought that went along with the times, or even at the time, a certain level of thought that evolved, digressed. That's why you have periods of dark ages, as they call them, or however you want to put it. But we're ever evolving. So the thoughts of the current time we live in obviously have to change for us to keep up with those changes and be in tune as the world and the spiritual ether around us begin to change. I would say right now, I would say most importantly is to learn about these things, to learn about, you know, the deeper layers of some of these things that we see on the surface sometimes that's trendy, but sometimes we don't go deeper in them to understand them more. Something as simple as horoscopes or zodiac signs, something like that. Like, we're at a point, and this is almost an example of where the mind goes and what we get to, but sometimes how it can just be caught and commercialized without going into the deeper layers of it. But we're at a point now where, like, asking somebody's zodiac sign, that's almost second after asking a person's name now. You know what I mean? Hey, nice to meet you. My name's blah, blah, blah. My name's blah, blah, blah. What's your sign? You get what I'm saying? Like, we're already at that point to where that wasn't as prevalent back in the day. It was more, I don't want to call it taboo. It wasn't like unheard of, but I feel like now, from the younger generations all the way up, people are asking, like, you know, you got children running around and know their sign. You know what I mean? Like, kids running around playing, and you can ask them what their sign is, and they're like, oh, I'm an Aquarius, or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, so that's an idea of how the evolution just takes place. But we need to get deeper into the layers to really understand ourselves. And in understanding ourselves, we can understand better the workings of the reality around us. Because something as simple as, like, a person who has a horoscope app on their phone, you know, they can look at the horoscope. Oh, you know, today in Aries, this is going on, da 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 da, and they give you like some general reading of what's going on with Aries in the current house it's in, or you know, or whatever's going on, and or usually just Sun in Aries reading or whatever. But to understand it a little bit deeper, you have to understand, like, you have 12 planetary houses. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's more to understand. It's different aspects to understand of yourself. So, me personally, I'm an Aries. So I'm Sun in Aries, Moon in Leo. You know what I mean? And you're ascended, and you know. Lilith, you get, like, it's so much, it's so many layers deep to really get an understanding. I mean, every little piece you read about yourself, it gives you an understanding, and you're like, well, damn, I never knew what that part of me was. A couple nights ago, I decided to dig deeper into my Lilith placement, and holy shit, you know, it reveals something. I'm just like, well, damn, you know, like, it put into words and gave me a better perspective of an aspect of my shadow. And a lot of people and I believe more and more people are becoming aware of shadow work as well, and understanding your shadow side, and understanding that there's a whole side of yourself that you can't see. By definition, your shadow is something that is attached to you from behind. You know what I mean? Like, you might see glimpses of it or whatever like that, but to understand it, you really have to, like, well, to understand it is to accept it. But at the same time, it's almost like a childlike nature of you, like a part of you that's just, you know, it acts without you knowing it's acting. You know what I mean? And sometimes the shadow is better observed from somebody on the outside of you. Spouses or loved ones or people you spend a lot of time with probably have a better view of your shadow than you do yourself. Not everybody. You know, of course there are hierophants that have done the work and better understand the shadow, have accepted and have found a discipline or a framework to to keep it in check or keep it balanced. And I believe that's the entire goal, is to balance your light side with your shadow side. And when you learn that balance, I believe that your outlook on life just changes, and you realize that it's not really outside forces doing these things to you. It's more the way you view it. It kind of reminds me of a Buddhist quote I've heard before, or I've read before, and it says something along the lines of you can't change an event, but you can change the way you view it or your energy towards it. You know what I mean? So something going on that bothers you or frustrates you or whatever, if it's out of your power to change, the only change you can do to it is your attitude towards it. And that is the only real change in essence. Once you realize that, that's the only way to change it, is to realize that I have the power to make this affect me or not, let this affect me or not. And I believe learning to balance those sides kind of just gives a full spectrum of that, and gives you better control of it, so to speak. But yeah, we're at a critical point in time and space where if people aren't thinking on these levels or examining themselves on these levels, going deeper into their natal charts, astrological events which affect us, what's unseen, like we can see, taste, touch, smell, hear, feel. We can do that all day. The five senses are one thing, but don't forget there's the wind. You can feel the wind, but you can't see it. Like it's an energy is there, but you can't see it, you can't grab it, you know what I mean? So it's like it's a nature is there, or the underlining of watching a flower bloom. What causes that bloom? What you don't see a pair of hands open the bud, like it happens, and it happens. It's a beautiful thing that you observe. Watching a child grow, watching your child grow up. It goes from this infant that you have to hold all the time to taking steps now, and it reminds you that there's a underlying energy to everything. Me personally, I view that as the source. Most we use the word God here. We can use the word God. I don't have any feeling towards the word, but because it's just a title, but I look at it more as a universal system. It's a system that penetrates everything. It's the underlining of all. God makes the system makes the clouds move just that it makes an insect on the wall breathe. You get what I'm saying? It makes the flower bloom just as it makes the water crash along the coast. It makes a rock form, and it makes a bird fly through the sky. It's a system with many manifestations that come off of the system, and it's been referred to in time as the logos, the source, the all, God, Allah, Yahweh. There are millions of names. And however you choose to study it or view it or call it, or your level of comfort with it is your choice, and it's fine, and it's okay. That's one thing I feel like we're getting away from as a society, is the agreeing to disagree and it being okay. We're becoming really divisive. We're becoming very divisive as a nation, and it's perpetuated, and it's fueled with mainstream media, social media, you know, all the normal political jargon and rhetoric, and it further divides us. And because we can't go, oh, you believe that, I believe this, shake hands, it's okay, I respect yours, you respect mine, and we're okay. It gets away from that. There's no middle ground anymore in between these things. And I believe it's very important during these times that we're thinking, like I said, on these higher levels, to examine ourselves and the world around us. And it's coming to a critical point that people that aren't thinking on these levels are people who, you know, choose to just, you know, oppose these things, or, oh, I don't believe in none of that, or, you know, or whatever. And it's just like, you know, like, you can choose not to believe in it, that's fine, but these things still affect you around you. So somebody who, oh, I don't believe in no Mercury retrograde, but during the retrograde, you can't have a normal conversation with anybody. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's still affecting you, you know? So I just think, at this time is very key and important that that we're at least examining these things, trying to understand these things. Let me look into it and see. Let me be knowledgeable about it. Even if I have my belief system, I have my spiritual system, I want to stick to it, but I still feel as if I should be aware of these things. It is a better place than just ignoring it. No, I don't believe in that stuff, you know, But and this critical point is gonna show, like, going into, like, there's a huge separation taking place of what's going on in the physical and the third dimensional realm, and social interaction in the world. Like, if you were to look at the news, and even if you muted it and you just looked at the news, we would think the world was falling apart. War here, political battles here, violence here, you know, and it's all over the place. And then to look or examine the league of people that are starting to think on higher realms and solve problems in a higher level of consciousness, it begins to paint a picture of this huge separation of people thinking on, I'll use the term fourth, fifth, sixth dimensional thinking, opposed to our third dimensional reality, where we've been trapped, so to speak, for centuries, you know, which was, of course, done by design, you know, but there's a separation taking place right now, and there are people who are thinking on these levels, and they're floating above, and they're just kind of viewing the chaos of the world, but they're separating themselves from it, from higher thinking. And then there are people that's just kind of stuck chasing their own tail in this third dimensional, damn, man, why does life keep happening to me like this? Why does shit keep happening? And, you know, blaming everybody else and running around in circles, and not having an outlet emotionally or mentally or spiritually to I don't know, to control this stuff, or to exercise this stuff, or to discipline this stuff. You're just like drowning in your emotion, or drowning in these thoughts, or whatever it is that you don't have an understanding of. You don't have labels for. You don't have someone you can talk to about, because you exist in a harder situation where there's no one listening to you and stuff like that. It's time to come out of your comfort zone. It's time to be put in uncomfortable situations, because in uncomfortable situations they cause growth. And if you're not evolving in this period of time, I don't know the end result of the third dimensional chaos that's going on, but eventually it has to implode, right? It has to purge or correct itself. Something's going to take place. And I'm afraid there'll be people caught up in that can't look off the ground and look up and to see something greater because they're just stuck where they are. Sadly, sometimes these are people, sometimes these are loved ones, sometimes these are people we really care about, sometimes these are people that, we keep trying with, and they just can't receive it. Because again, you can lead a horse to water, you can't make it drink, so sometimes you could tell a person 1,000,000 times something and they just won't receive it. That's because they haven't internally made the choice, and life has another cycle for them to have to learn. Some people are going to have to do these worldly cycles again. Excuse me. Even in a grand scheme, reincarnation is a whole area of exploration. Not everybody believes in reincarnation. That's fine. Again, that's okay. Me personally, I believe reincarnation definitely plays a role in our existence because energy just doesn't not exist. You can't make energy just not exist. That's not how it works. Energy can recycle itself. Energy can come back in another form, but energy just doesn't go from existent to not existent. It just doesn't work that way. So, me personally, I believe we are beings that we've been here for eons, recycling in different forms. Male, female, androgynous, deity, lower cycles, animal spirits, like all these things connect with us. We have nowadays coming from more native or aboriginal teachings, the spirit totems or animal spirit medicine cards and stuff like that. Why is it you connect so hard with animal spirit? Because at one point in time you might have been a part of this animal spirit. You ever looked at a picture of a foreign country or something like that and just saw somebody in the picture and be like, man, I feel like that's my cousin or something. Like I feel connected to this person. I ain't never met this person or whatever like that. That's like, sometimes those are like past life, like snapshots that just kind of like, oh damn, and they trigger something. Even in the sense of deja vu being a phenomenon or whatever like that, and being a moment to where two things overlap that trigger something. And you had this moment of, damn, deja vu. I feel like I saw the same thing. I've been here in this moment before, kind of thing. I believe all of that paints a picture to reincarnation, or our spirit or our ether recycling here over and over again. I believe there are people who will have to do these lessons, because this is a planet of learning. This is a planet of learning. You learn as much as you can here, and then when it's time for you to make your transition, you take what you've learned to the next post, whatever that is, I believe a lot of people will have to, repeat cycles, One of my brothers, shouts out Anonymous again, had a video up where he spoke of like almost feeling this sense of being tired or being drained, trying to get people to understand how important these things are. And I understand that. I've been at that point of just being frustrated when you start to realize how much of our teaching or indoctrination was just bullshit. and getting to a point that's like, hey man, I need you to understand this because it's all bullshit. But like, sometimes these thoughts are so far-fetched, or these thoughts are just so far from the normal, what's normal thinking, or you know what I mean, or rational thinking to the mainstream person. Sometimes the thought is too radical. Often cognitive dissonance plays a role in these things. You tell somebody something that is so far-fetched to them that it just can't be real. So they they immediately dismiss it. Oh no, it couldn't be that. Nah, stuff like that don't exist. Da 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 da, or whatever. And it's like, I mean, you're like, do you just have no interest in going deeper in to find out these things or whatever? But ultimately, and I'm saying this to myself and to my brother, Anonymous. Ultimately, it's not meant for everybody. Sadly, it's not meant for everybody. There are some people that are just meant to do what they're meant to do in the realms that they're in, and us speaking of levels of higher consciousness to them, if they have no interest in it or no understanding of it, is like talking to a wall. Or all you're gonna get is, resistance, which is okay. I'm always open to a good debate about something, and I'll bring my facts, you bring yours, and I love diatribe, but some people just get real butthurt about it, and when you come with a fact or something like that and they can't refute it, it causes them to get a little defensive sometimes. So the art of diatribe needs to be renewed, especially amongst our people, to have these conversations, whether uncomfortable or not. I think that's something that does need to take place. What's today? Was it the 17th, 18th? I know we just recently came out of Mercury retrograde. I believe the retrograde ended. I believe the retrograde ended on either October 1st or 2nd. It just ended. And we have one more retrograde to go through this year that'll take us into next year. And that'll be the fourth retrograde of this year. That'll be from December 29th to January 18th of next year. And retrogrades is, as much as people hear that and just kind of have attached this energy of, we're going into retrograde again, like everything gonna be confused, and communication sucks at this time and stuff like that. And yeah, all those characteristics, I get it. But ultimately, they're learning lessons. They're learning. They're periods of learning. When you go into retrograde, there's more time to do some introspection and turn yourself within and work on internal things than trying to communicate stuff. So like, during these periods of time, you want to just keep communication lighthearted. As simple as that, which ultimately is a lesson. Maybe some people need to learn to be more lighthearted around these times, or just more lighthearted in general. Sometimes everybody just doesn't want to deep dive about stuff all the time. Like it can get heavy. The road of consciousness was never promised to be anything easy. Sometimes this stuff is heavy. To tell somebody that the reality around them might not be what they've thought it was since they've been born is a lot. If you remember in the movie The Matrix, that we can reference or surrounding consciousness for eternity. The movie The Matrix, remember they talked about how they unplugged Neo late, and they say usually we don't unplug a soul after a certain age because it's too hard for them to adjust. So there are some people who consciousness for them at a later age, or just a long period of time of viewing life a certain way, maybe their parents taught life to them a certain way and their grandparents taught their parents a certain, like generations of just viewing life in this very modern, very ground level way, it's hard for them to think that there's something else out there beyond that plays roles in their destiny. You know what I mean? That sometimes it's hard for somebody to accept. And you know, some people are built to face it and will work themselves to a position where they can understand it. And some people aren't meant to be unplugged, so to speak, you know. But to my people that are on these levels, we just have to continue to cross-reference and analyze these things, to apply it to ourselves, to apply it to building a better reality for ourselves and disciplining ourselves and, you know, being more understanding. We need a return of compassion. Compassion is lacking so much in our current reality. And that's a way to heal everything. There's a little bit of understanding and compassion. And these things teach these lessons. In a retrograde, like, for example, it affects everyone differently. A certain sign might be affected differently by a retrograde or any type of planetary event or astrological event because of the different signs. Because I'm this sign and this planet and is in this house at this time, it affects me differently than it affects a Leo or a Virgo or a Libra or whatever. You know what I mean? And to be understanding and compassionate is to realize, oh wow, right now this person seems this way to me. Let me not take it personally because I don't know what they're going through in their personal life. I don't know what energies are pulling them right now. I don't know. So why not try and be compassionate? You want somebody to be compassionate about you. You ever woke up one day or went out the door one day and you just wasn't feeling it? Just like, man, I'm just like, my fuse is short. I'm irritable. I don't really want to deal with anybody. And then you get to that moment where you done snapped on somebody or got real snippy with somebody and like, damn, I didn't even mean to be like that. But I couldn't even help it. And like, you will want somebody to be understanding. Oh, you know, maybe they're going through something today. Maybe, you know, hey, whatever you're going through, I hope it get better. You know what I'm saying? A pat on the back, a hug, some consoling, an ear to listen. Like, you know, anything. So like, to put that out is what you're gonna get back. And we learn that that's like a stage one learning is the law of attraction. What you put out is what you're gonna get back. Period. Simple as that. So to be understanding, you'll get understanding back. You know? On October 22nd, Saturn goes direct in Aquarius, and I wrote a few little notes here. Take all the lessons learned while Saturn was in retrograde and use that to reconstruct life patterns going forward. So Saturn was in retrograde for a long time. Saturn being more of a parental planet, a parental energy. Saturn's going to teach the heavy lessons. So Saturn's going to bring a lot of stuff to the surface that you need to be faced with and everything like that. So while Saturn was in retrograde, there was a lot of lessons going forth. You know what I mean? And a lot of things to reflect on. And all those lessons learned during that period of time comes to an accumulation of, now it's time to put them into action and I like to go forward. And this is what I mean about like starting to understand and map these things. To map these things, you make life easier for yourself. You start learning to navigate these energies. And, you know, you don't have to be a pro at it, but just, you know, stay aware. It's a new moon coming, I believe in a week. Now, next Tuesday, it'll be a new moon in Libra going into Scorpio, the new moon. So, you know, like, these energies affect us. So just knowing and being aware of these things helps you navigate through it. Study the energies of it. What What are the energies of a new moon in Scorpio like? What are the energies of a full moon in Leo like? Or whatever, you know what I mean? And realize how your chart, how these things affect you, you know what I mean? And I don't know, it gives, I'm not saying it just solves problems automatically, but it gives you an outline of a place to start. Oh man, maybe this is a lesson for me that I need to understand. Let me take a step back and examine this instead of just reacting. We're very reactive people in our current reality instead of proactive or observant before action. You know, that's what we need to become. And like these small things put all together start to build a brand new reality. Yeah, so this, like I said, this video just kind of been on me for a while to get out. Just wanted to touch base with it. This is probably one of the first that I actually have gotten into deeper levels like this, you know, because again, I told you it's going to be a mixed bag with me. Music, wrestling, spiritual talk, it's going to be a mixed bag with me. I do want to turn this into something separate in itself and just start doing more talks like this. And I'll have guests on that also speak in these realms as well. And yeah, just, you know, just put out something, just something for the people to hear something they might need to hear, you know. Give somebody a place to look, you know, when they just find themselves looking for anything, you know. I went through that in my life. I was staring at the bottom of a liquor bottle back in 2010, 2011 when I realized I got to change something. You know what I mean? Like I was going through a lot at the time, and I really wanted to change everything and just open my mind more, you know. And it started with something as simple as Buddhist text, just reading Buddhist text, wanting to understand meditation deeper, experimenting more with cannabis and going deeper into realms and certain strands that took me into more meditative places and stuff like that. And you know, just experiment. Let me, you know, in my teens in high school, we would, you know, we'd smoke some marijuana and you know, act stupid, go watch movies and laugh and, you know, do goofy, which is, you know, that's what kids do, that's fine. But as you get older, and it's just like, hey, what if I smoke this, get into this realm, and then I try and meditate, and take my meditation farther, do some yoga, take my yoga farther, and stuff like that. And those were the beginning pieces for me to achieve enlightenment or achieve consciousness or hyper awareness. And you know, it's been a journey since, you know, and that was back during like 2012 where I first started to experience these realms of myself, and it's been an ongoing learning journey ever since then, and I have no regrets. I would not trade anything for my outlook on things now. Of course, if I could do certain things different, I would, but you know, you can't please everybody, and you need not live with regrets. So I don't know, man, just be willing to introduce more to yourself. I think that's the best guideline to go by. Be willing to open your mind to something that you might not understand. I don't understand this, but this feels like something I should learn about. I can't quite imagine this, but I feel like this is something I need to focus on or research on or meditate on to see if it expands. And to even know where to get services. I offer meditation trainings. So if you were interested in learning to meditate deeper, or certain types of yoga that invoke the spirit, and you go into more of a, I do yoga more on a spiritual sense than just the exercise. I know yoga now has gotten like trendy, and it's a lot of people do it to stay in good shape, but you do get in good shape doing yoga. But I was taught by the yogi master that taught me, and I practice Kundalini yoga, which is it's more very spiritual based. So yoga for me is a type of meditation, and I go deep into deeper realms when I do yoga. I also offer those services. Anyone interested in learning yoga, learning deeper levels of yoga, spiritual wellness, and those things of that nature. The services are out there. By all means, hit my inbox, ask a question. If you feel struck by anything I've said, hey, Nam, where can I learn this? What can I, if I have the answer, I'll give it to you. If I can point you in the right direction of the answer, I will. I have no problem with that. I'm open to dialogue. That's what we have to do, is remember that we're all one, unity, oneness. But yeah, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and wind this thing down. I appreciate you guys sitting with me during these talks. Again, I apologize I haven't uploaded in a while. It's been a busy year for my family and I, and I'm gonna get back into this thing. This is therapeutic for me as well, to get on here and just kind of talk about this stuff and vent out this stuff. So I will do more of it. Again, if you have not checked out my latest musical project, Hado number 90, The Black Box, is available on all major streaming platforms. I appreciate anybody who has checked it out, and if you haven't and you want to hear some authentic, true hip-hop over some dope beats, some mind-provoking lyrics, again, all the spiritual stuff I talk about like this, it bleeds into my music, because that's where my true spirit is, in these realms. Go check it out, man. Go check it out. Let me know what you think. I appreciate it. And hit me up. I appreciate this. If you like this type of content from me, please like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on IG at Anomaly to God, all one word. Yeah, man, I appreciate you guys greatly, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace. Number 90.